I am so sick of scrolling online and watching black Americans sit there and advise their people not to support the immigration movement that's going on across the entire United States. What have they done for us? They never supported our protests. Yes, they have. Go watch some old footage. You're going to see people in different shades, different colors, even sizes. It's a beautiful thing. And now I'm not simply going after black Americans because I'm watching Hispanics, Latinos with legal status that simply just betrayed their people, saying, we don't support this. You know what's crazy? Back in those days, black Americans weren't the only ones that were fighting for civil rights, for equality. You had the Puerto Ricans, you had the Chicanos, you had black Americans. And the beautiful thing is that even back in those days, there was unity going on behind closed doors. You had the Chicano movement, the Brown Berets, you had the Puerto Ricans, the Young Lords, you had the Black Panthers, all united. And guess what? Back in those days, you had people like this spreading that same harmful rhetoric. Oh, we shouldn't unite with the Puerto Ricans. Oh, we shouldn't unite with the Chicanos. Yeah, even back in those days, it was happening. If that wasn't the case, those movements would have been a lot larger. But guess what? There was a small group of people that saw the vision, and every time they united, they were successful. And unfortunately, back in those days, it was eventually broken apart when one of the leaders ended up passing away, or they were hit with RICO charges, and eventually they just dispersed. A lot of people don't know this, but back in the day, during Martin Luther King, he understood the vision. He understood, and he motivated the Puerto Ricans to form and fight for their civil rights and equality, and the Chicanos, and they did. They formed their stuff. And guess what? I love this quote, and it says a whole lot. It says, we cannot walk alone. We will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Martin Luther King. Guess what? These are your neighbors, your friends, and even family. And that type of abandonment is loud. I think all of us felt that type of abandonment throughout our lives at a smaller scale, from friends, betrayal, and so on. You wanted someone to speak up for you, and they didn't. Why would you expect civil rights, equality for your people, but not for everyone else? Doesn't make much sense, does it? See, now we're going backwards. But what they don't want us to do is unite. Because all them streets that you see right now in Los Angeles, New York, and so on, guess what? If we come together, they will be even more full. Every square footage of them streets will be completely covered. And they don't want that. I hate that Hispanic Latinos go against their interests. I call them out all the time, especially with what Donald Trump is doing. And even black Americans. You know that Donald Trump was actually at a military event, and he goes on to say that he's renaming military bases to Confederate generals' names. Do you know what the Confederacy represents? It represents them preserving slavery back in those days. I'm sick and tired of y'all going against your own interests. The people that are speaking and passing on this harmful rhetoric for even the younger people, guess what? Y'all are not even any better than the white supremacy. Who needs the white supremacy when they have you doing the work for them? With that being said, I'm going to leave y'all with that. Like this video, comment, be respectful, and as always, follow me.
Now I can empathize and sympathize with the black community. I've never been able to do that before because I would hear them say things like, oh, you know, we walk down the street and we get profiled and, you know, cops will just suddenly stop and frisk or whatever just because of the color of their skin. And I always thought like, you know, it's a little bit of a stretch. It feels like a little bit of a stretch. That person must be doing something, right? And obviously I've never experienced that before. I've never felt that way before and stuff. And so I always thought like, ignorantly, by the way, on my part, thinking like, you know, I think you guys are, because I'm brown, you know, I've never felt that and stuff like that, you know, I'm also a minority. But now, with us, it wasn't the cops. Cops aren't just randomly to go and checking in the past. But now it's our turn, right? Now we feel it. Now we feel like, crap, can I just go down the street? Do I need my paper? You know, it's like, why are you stopping me? I'm a U.S. citizen. We're not doing anything wrong. And now we're being persecuted. And so now I'm thinking like, crap, this is what the black community meant, you know? And I kind of feel bad. Well, I don't kind of feel, I feel bad because I never really could understand where they were coming from or where you guys were coming from. But I can assure you that now that it's here with us too, it's like, crap, I honestly, legitimately didn't think it was real. But it's real as hell, and it's obviously minority groups that are targeted and persecuted pretty much. And it's right now with us is because we're brown. You guys have had your turn when cops were just in bigger cities, urban areas, stopping disproportionately the black community and stuff. And I just want to say, like, I guess now I understand. I think moving forward, there's going to be a little bit more unity because we now can see where you guys are coming from, or at least I can, and so, yeah, guys, I just want to say sorry for being ignorant before, but I hope this unites all communities, not just minorities, and call out things for what they are, regardless of the race.
Support between two communities should not be transactional or guilty-based. It should be principle-based and reciprocal. Now, we all know that Black Americans have always been on the forefront fighting for justice, not just for themselves, but for everyone else. And during the civil rights movement, a few Hispanic activists stood side by side with Black leaders fighting for equality and human rights. And now the question is, should Black Americans extend the same support because a few Hispanic activists actually helped Black leaders back in those days? And we all know, and it's true, and it's evident that solidarity hasn't been mutual between the Hispanic community and the Black community. You've all seen what has been happening. The Hispanic community went on and voted against their own self-best interest. They voted against their own community. But the crazy part about this all is that we are seeing Hispanic people coming online calling out Black Americans simply because Black Americans are saying, this is not our fight. We did our best on November 5th, and it's actually getting to some people's nerves. And this is why you're seeing this kind of people now creating videos here, calling out Black Americans, saying that they don't like when they see Black Americans creating videos and telling their own that this is not your fight. Sit home, relax, because you actually protested. You actually did what was expected for you. You actually did and voted for the best interest of the Hispanic community on November 5th. So it's making so many people angry. And I want us to watch some of these videos that I've gathered for you guys. In as much as there's this man complaining and calling out Black Americans and so many other videos out there, there are also a few people from the Hispanic community telling their own community that Black Americans don't owe them anything. In as much as we can acknowledge, and we're actually acknowledging that there are some Hispanic activists that actually helped Black leaders fight for equality during the civil rights movements and human rights. But the truth is, and we always have to remember, that the fight and the price was mostly paid by Black Americans. And yeah, we are talking about that time during the civil rights movement. So I want us to watch some of these few videos that I've gathered for you guys. Every clip and every stitch that you'll be seeing on this episode, credits belongs to the original creators of these videos that you're seeing on your screens. If you're actually from the Hispanic community watching these and you feel like Black Americans owe you unity, solidarity, and to get out there and protest, I'd really love you to tell us why you think so. And for Black Americans watching these, let me know what you all think about these on the comment section. So let's just dive right ahead and we'll come back with more commentary.
I am so sick of watching Black Americans sit there and advise their people not to support the immigration movement that's going on across the entire United States.
We already provided you guys with a whole amazing woman. Donald Trump, I don't know if you heard about the budget bill that increased the US debt by $3 trillion, taking away from working class people. Okay, this is the chart here. You see 90% of US income earners are not seeing a dime of that money. It was for the billionaires. And on top of that, FEMA's cut. You got ICE agents and masks coming to yoink people up. Whereas you had Kamala Harris, this whole amazing woman who was going to extend a child tax credit to people with children, who was going to extend a credit to people who had elderly family members in the home as well as children, who was going to extend a subsidy, a tax credit on first-time home buyers of $20,000. So Black people already helped you. Sorry.
Latinos in the United States have not earned the support of Black people for us to be demanding, oh yeah, why aren't they coming out to protest with us? Why aren't they engaging in activism with us? Because we haven't earned it at all, in the slightest. Or did you guys forget that 46% of all eligible Latino voters voted for Donald Trump in the 2024 presidential election? Or how about the fact that racism, anti-Blackness, colorism, all of these things are still very much pervasive in our communities? Bro, Latinos haven't even reconciled with the fact that they can't use the N-word unless they're also black themselves, because Afro-Latinos exist. Oh, and if we're talking about Miami, oof, you'll see the whitest MAGA Latinos be like, bro, but I grew up in the hood. I grew up around black people. In Overtown or in Liberty City, I could say it, bro. No one's going to stop me from saying it. It's my right. I'm not racist. I have a black friend. We haven't even gotten over that. And we want black people to go to protests with us, to engage in activism with us, putting their lives, their freedom, their bodies on the line? No. I completely understand any black person that wants to just disengage, disregard us. I get it, guys. I really, really do. And we, as Latinos, as a collective, should not be harboring resentment against black people, criticizing them, getting angry at them, questioning them. No. No. Because we've earned this. They are completely justified in feeling the way they feel and doing what they're doing. Now, I would like to give a message to the black folks watching this video. You are completely justified in your feelings and in doing what you're doing, and I respect it. But please remember that black folks are also being affected by this persecution of undocumented migrants. And I feel like that's not talked about enough either. Here, Miami, Florida is the best example. Haitians, Jamaicans, Bahamians, Afro-Cubans, Afro-Hondurans, Garifunas, black people from all over Latin America and all over the world, Africans, just so many black people that are also undocumented that are really being affected by the persecution of this administration. And of course, much like any other entity in space, black folks in immigration detention centers, in the immigration system, are treated worse than their white, Latino, Asian counterparts. So it's really important to acknowledge that and just let you guys know. But yeah, Latinos, we need to tighten up. If you guys want the support of the black community, then earn it. Demonstrate that we can solve these issues of racism in our own communities, and please stop saying the N-word. If you're not black, don't say the N-word. It's really simple, actually.
Why are Latinos asking black people to join them in the protest? But last month, black people asked Latinos to stop saying the N-word because black people find it disrespectful when Latinos say the N-word. And Latinos were so offended that they started disrespecting the black community. And I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but I want to say something. If you've been following me for a while or have gone through my videos recently, you see that I'm constantly pushing for unity between communities. Majority of the black people in the comments are stating how they get a lot of disrespect from the Latinos, and majority of the Latinos in my comments are actually really disrespectful to the black community. And I've been pushing for unity because these protests are not where we're going to unite. There's something bigger to come where we need that unity. And something that I've been noticing during these protests is a lot of Latinos are asking the black community for help. And when the black community states how they don't want to, or they don't feel like they should, Latinos are disrespecting them with racial slurs. There's a video circulating on the internet where a Latina is yelling the N-word in a very derogatory form to a black police officer. How is that helping our cause when we're asking the black community to join us? There's videos on the internet where the comment section is full of hate from Latinos to black people because the black community doesn't want to join us on the protest. And while sure, I agree that this is everybody's fight, Latinos, we need to take responsibility and acknowledge the fact that this is our fault. I find it very ghetto and disrespectful for us to be saying the N-word. I find it very disrespectful for us to be even saying the M word, that stands for Beatles in Spanish. And while I am going to have a lot of people in the comments saying that this is all politics and about the Latinos for Trump BS, this has nothing to do with politics because it is before Trump took office. We were put against each other back in the 1970s and the 1980s. And we're a product of that now because it was our parents that were put against one another. Why? Must I remind you that back in the 1960s when we were all united, we actually got things done, like the Civil Rights Act movement. Latinos tend to forget that black people, the black community, were out protesting for field worker rights, immigration rights with us. And the black community tends to forget that there were Latinos marching with Martin Luther King Jr., down to the point that we do have a statue for MLK in Mexico because MLK was a huge impact in the Latino community. And while I do not agree with Cesar Chavez and the stuff that he did to the immigrants in the United States, Cesar Chavez, amongst many other Latinos, were marching with MLK. Black Panthers were protecting Mexicans, while Black Panthers also helped start the Brown Berets. We have a lot of history together, and this is why divided we stay conquered, because together we get things done. So no, I'm not asking the black community to come out and march with us, to protest with us, because this is something small compared to whatever is about to come. I'm asking the Latino and the black community to take accountability for whatever we have going on and start asking yourselves, why have we been put against each other? And why have some of us actually gone along with the way that they want us against each other? Why is there hate amongst each other when We've done nothing but unite in the past and get things done. Where does this hate come from? I've had my fair share of experiences with racist people in the past, but those people do not define the communities that they come from for me. There's always going to be races within each community. So to my fellow Latinos, we've needed unity for a long time from other communities, and now we're reaping the consequences of us being hateful towards other communities. We even have hate within ourselves. And until we take accountability and change that, no one's going to come out to our rescue. Food for thought.
I'm seeing some misplaced anger from some Latino people coming out saying, oh, black people, you need to be out there with us, front line, standing with us in solidarity. We did. We stood with y'all in their voting booth. Black people voted in solidarity against that man. I'm not saying this is not our fight. What I am saying, we stood up for y'all when y'all didn't stand up for yourselves. Matter of fact, let me show you something right quick. This is from American Society, Council of Americas, who got their data from the Associated Press, as you can see right here. 42% Latino voters cast a ballot for Donald Trump. Y'all are house divided. Now, to compare, 81% of black folks voted for Kamala Harris, actively voted against what's happening right now. So I'm not saying don't be upset, but maybe direct it towards your own kinfolk, your own skinfolk first, because we stood with y'all in that booth.
I now feel for the black community because I know what it feels like to be racially profiled. I didn't know it before, and I thought it was a little bit of a reach, but now I totally get it. That's what a man came out on here and said, and this is why we should believe victims. This is why we should believe people's stories. This is why we should have empathy, and this is why we should be able to put ourselves in other people's shoes. Because you thought it was a reach. That's what he said. He thought it was a reach when the black community said that they were being racially profiled and they were getting stopped for no reason, and like it probably wasn't that serious. But now that Latinos are getting racially profiled, now he gets it. This is why empathy is so important, because you never know when the tables turn. And no, it shouldn't be transactional. It really shouldn't. You should believe people because you should think. You should be able to think outside yourself and be like, if that was me, I would hate that. I don't have to be black to realize that that freaking sucks. That what they go through, what they've experienced, sounds painful. That I can't even imagine the years of frustration and honestly, just freaking frustration and anger that they must feel. But guess what? Now Latinos get it. Now. And that is why we are in the situation that we are, because people don't feel for others until it happens to them.
Yes, guys, so I was looking into this history because every time that I'm seeing people from the Hispanic community creating videos and calling out Black Americans simply because their leaders helped fight during the civil rights movement. Some of their activists helped Black leaders during this time. And to be clear, some Hispanic figures like Cesar Chavez and organizations like the Brown Berets supported part of the Black struggle during the 1960s. They marched, they protested, and they believed in justice. But the civil rights movement wasn't just a Black and Hispanic movement. It was Black-led. Black Americans carried the weight, took the bullets, faced the dogs, and endured the yes. Well, in as much as we can acknowledge that, the truth is, and we always have to remember, that the fight and the price was mostly paid by Black Americans. So when we look on what's happening in our today's world between the Hispanic community and the Black Americans, what the Hispanic community have been doing over the years, they've been voting and campaigning and supporting leaders that openly promote anti-Blackness in the United States of America. We've also seen some raising anti-Blackness sentiments in the Latin community. There is something happened with some Latino leaders, and you heard what they were actually saying behind closed doors, and some of these video or whatever they were saying leaked, and people got to hear and understand what some of these people actually do talk about the Black communities behind closed doors. You've also seen in cases where people actually come out and say, when we were kids, we were being told this about the Black community. We were taught not to associate ourselves with the Black community. You see, in cases where some people from the Hispanic community that are not as light or close to whiteness as they would want are forced to maybe get married to Caucasian families or Caucasian men or Caucasian women because they want to do away with melanin. And you've seen even in some of the Hispanic community where Afro-Latinos even believe that they are not Black. We've seen what Dominicans have been doing and saying on social media. It's not like it's something that they're actually saying privately. It's something that they've been coming out and saying in public. They've been creating videos and calling out Black Americans, telling them and asking them why they are forcing them to, identify as a Black, but no one has ever forced them. It's clear that you're melanin, it's clear that you're Black. We can see that, and there is nothing you can do to change that. There have been some silence from the Hispanic community when Black people are fighting for their lives, at job or workplaces. We've seen what has been happening. Now, like this one who came here and agreed on this video in the beginning and said that he didn't believe that this was happening to the Black community until it started happening to their community. Can you imagine how many others like him are out there believing that whatever Black Americans have been saying and everything that they've been experiencing from police brutality and all that has been happening, and they thought that all this was a lie, and now they're actually finding out that this was true because it's now happening in their community. It's affecting them. So the reason as to why you're seeing some of these Hispanic people coming out here creating videos calling out Black Americans, it's not because they really care about the Black community, because if they care, they would have been helping Black people fighting against systematic racism and everything that has been happening to them, the police brutality, the racial profiling, but we never get to see that. The reason as to why they're actually doing this and asking for unity and solidarity is because this is actually affecting their community. They're still the same people that went on ahead. I mean, the Hispanic community, over 46% of them voted for this to happen. It's not like Trump lied to them. It's not like the Republicans lied to them. They were openly saying this about mass deportation. They were openly insulting you guys. They were openly saying everything. And Black Americans were actually warning you all against things, but none of you listened. None of you paid attention because you thought that all these policies are not going to affect us. And the real thing is, if tables turned and it happened that Black Americans are the ones actually experiencing what is happening to the Hispanic community, they will not be calling for unity. They will not be trying to be out there helping the Black community. Let's just be honest and let's put things as they are, because this is the truth. Because if they would have cared, they would not have went on ahead and voted against their own self-best interest. So imagine you sitting there and thinking that Black Americans should just show up and help you just because of the support that your ancestors gave them like decades and decades ago. It does not make sense, because Black Americans have been suffering. Black Americans want you not to vote for this because whatever is happening now is what Black Americans have been experiencing in the United States of America for the last over 400 years and still experiencing is right now. It's not like Black Americans are not being affected by what is happening. It's just that Black Americans have gotten used to living with these situations, and the reason as to why they were actually asking you not to go ahead and vote against your own self-best interest is because they knew that this would be better off for everyone else. Every other person living in the United States of America, for white women, for minorities, for Black people, for Hispanic, but most people chose not to listen because of hatred and racism and anti-Blackness that really do exist in the Hispanic community and the Latin community. You have to know that solidarity should not be permanent. It should be earned and maintained. And the Hispanic community have not done this. We have not seen this from them towards the Black community. You always see Black people fighting for each and everyone else in the United States of America, because you have to understand that the policies or some of the things that are actually affecting Black Americans, sooner or later they'll finally catch up with everyone else in the United States of America. And now it's clear and evident because of what's happening to the Hispanic community. So if you're ignoring anything that Black Americans are actually always warning you all about, just remember that one way or another, or maybe now, sooner or later, it will finally catch up with you. And you all should be listening to Black Americans because they know how this system works. They've been dealing with these people for over 400 years. They'll have an experience of how it feels to be the minorities. You know, the Hispanic community, yes, in as much as the other minorities, they have not really felt the pressure of being a minority in the United States of America. And this is why you're seeing so many of them breaking down. This is why you're seeing so many of them coming out here calling out Black Americans, as if Black Americans have not been asking for your help over the last 400 years, and none of you listened and none of you cared because it wasn't affecting you directly. And now that it's actually affecting you directly, this is the time that you're thinking that you should come out here and call Black Americans, which is not fair at all. So when so many of you are out here asking for unity and solidarity, you have to learn that solidarity isn't based on guilt. It's based on shared struggle and shared vision. You all haven't been sharing the Black struggles. You all don't have the same vision as Black Americans, and this is why you are facing what you're facing right now. I'd really love to know what your thoughts or what your take is on this on the comment section. I do really appreciate your love and support on this channel. Remember, this episode is not to instigate any hate. It's just for education purposes only. That next time these people will be actually being warned not to go ahead and vote against their own self-best interest, they will listen, because some of these policies and some of these leaders and these politicians don't care about you. All they care is just getting in that office, making their own money, and continue making the rich richer. Thank you so much for watching up to this part. Make sure to like the video, share with your friends and loved ones, and until the next episode, make sure to keep safe and bye.